Women's dating safety app, sorry, T breached. Users' IDs posted to 4chan. Well, that didn't take long. Literally the day after I talk about it. This doxing app seems like it poses a lot of legal and safety risks. Like it's horrifying. Panopticon. Okay, someone doxed the doxing app? That's crazy. Users from 4chan claim to have discovered an exposed database hosted on Google's mobile app platform, development platform, Firebase, belonging to the newly popular women's dating safety app T. Rifting through people's personal data and selfies uploaded to the app, posting that data online. 4chan, da-da-da. T, which claims to have more than 1.6 million users, that's a lot, man. Reached the top of the App Store charts this week. Ooh. And has tens of thousands of reviews there. The app aims to provide a space for women to exchange information about men in order to stay safe. I really don't like the way 404 is covering this information. Yes, if you sent the T app your face and driver's license, they doxed you publicly. No authentication, no nothing. It's a public bucket. A post on 4chan said driver's license and Facebook's. Okay, so 4chan is scraping the data of the women who are using it because the app requires you be a woman, so it does that turfy like facial scan thing, you know, where they're like, show your bone structure, show that you don't have facial hair, that kind of thing, and it docs that. I guess I don't endorse that because I feel like the people on 4chan are going to be very, very mean to these ladies, and they don't all necessarily deserve it. There is a kind of cruel irony that dox the men that you have interacted with through a dating app then ended up making you very doxable as a user of the app. The Palantir became the Palantee. Posted people's driver's licenses, da-da-da. The images in the bucket are raw and uncensored. Multiple users have created scripts to automate the process of collecting people's personal information from the exposed database. T launched back in 2023, but this week skyrocketed to the top of the US Apple App Store. When creating an account, users are required to upload a selfie, which T says it uses to determine whether the user is a woman or not. I don't understand, like, if you're going to make an app like this, why is it gender segregated? Like, aren't there also crazy bitches out there? Parentheses female? Who you might want to complain about? Or I guess I don't really understand. You'd think a safety app would put more effort into this infrastructure. This leak is certainly due to irresponsibility on the part of the company, but also, let's be clear here, like, a lot of men really hate this app for reasons that are different to the reason I hate this app. I hate this app because it erodes social trust, and it folds all human interactions into like the omnipalantirism, right? And a lot of guys just hate the idea of women having standards. Like, it's 4chan. Let's not pretend this is being done for noble reasons, right? They're just looking to harass women. They have no idea if the usernames, faces, driver's licenses that they've scraped off of the app, if the women there were bad, if they were just checking it out because they're curious, they might be they might have objected morally to what they saw on there. It doesn't matter to them. It's just hatred. T-App put out a statement regarding the compromise. They assert it's mostly older data, but not too old, but not too new. However, data dump nerds contend data is present in the dump from 2025, which conflicts with the statement from the developers. Okay. Hey, Heart T. We always want the space to feel safe, honest, and supportive, so here's what you need to know. I apologize. I'm being a little sexist here, but they kind of prompted me to do so with the heart and the teacup. First off, please know that if you signed up for T after 2023, all your data is secure. We recently discovered unauthorized access to an old archive system that stored around 72,000 user-submitted images, including approximately 13,000 images of selfies and photo identification submitted during account verification, and 59,000 images publicly viewable in the app from posts, comments, and direct messages from over 2 years ago. I'll stop with the voice now. Fast acted our team, da-da-da. Don't know if I necessarily believe them. Don't really trust the moral reliability of the kind of people who would make an app like this. Why do they keep the images for verification? That's a great question. Why do they keep those images? They wouldn't be making a bit of extra cash on the side selling data like every single other app, would they? I mean, it's not like this app is paying the bills with a subscription service, right? Like it's like that with everything, man. If I recall correctly, their terms of service said they were supposed to delete it. Yeah, I've heard that one before. I don't know, man. Pretty spooky. Hopefully none of the women who got their information leaked are treated, you know, they don't suffer any serious. There's no reason to believe that they, just by virtue of having used the app, are worthy of any, like, personal attacks or anything like that. What is this? The T app just ruined dating forever. Oh, no.
The T app was designed to expose men, but it's exposing y'all women. It's showing just how dirty and nasty the men that y'all have been dealing with are. Y'all get online with these high standards that you don't have in real life, which is what I always say.
Okay, what about this one?
I am more embarrassed for the women than I am the men on that actual app.
Is this a common thing for more like TikTok or Zoomer coded media, where they do these really obnoxious pitch changes and what is it called, like reverb, little, like when you repeat a syllable or something? Unfortunately, yes. I really hate that. Wow, I really hate that. Is that really necessary to hold people's attention? That is crazy to me. Okay, what about here?
Some viewers may find this just...
It's called tea, as in spill the tea, or experiences with these men.
Recently created this app back
searches to make sure the intent
Now, initially when I first heard about this, I thought, okay, this seems pretty decent, but it's getting a lot of backlash on the internet, mostly
I like your jacket.
by a lot of men.
How the f did I get on the T app? I used to work with him. He gave me gay vibes. What? I only worked one job with females, bro. And that was at Olive Garden when I was a server. And the reason why I didn't with none of y'all is because y'all was already all the on the job. Peep this. Already told me, showed me text proof on who the was already getting cracked. There was nobody at the Olive Garden that wasn't getting cracked on.
Also, Vosh, why are you assuming people on Chan boards would have a standard for being awful? I don't assume that. I said the exact opposite. I said the exact opposite of that. I said I don't think that the people on 4chan would be leaking this with any kind of like moral discernment. You know what I mean? Or engaging with it.
Camp Creek Parkway. Yes, I said the location, and I know who did that shit. So you matter have.
It's honestly getting to the point where I'm kind of surprised that none of the articles that I've seen talking about the T app are talking about it in the context of it being a majority POC app, because it seems like legitimately everybody who I see talking about it online is Black or Arab, which is interesting. Is it just like disproportionately they're the ones talking about it? Is there user data on it? It's just odd that it's not mentioned, you know? Maybe, honestly, look, maybe it's just me being in a bubble, right? Maybe it's like when I think of dating apps, I think of Grindr, Tinder, and Hinge, like relatively old. I don't think of like modern. I'm 31 years old, you know? So maybe like stuff that's more youth oriented when these apps developed outside of kind of like the nerdy Silicon Valley bubble that a lot of them formed in, because I'm definitely, I guess, a little more dork culture associated than some people. Maybe like I'm just in a bubble and it's like that all across the board. I don't know. It's not everywhere. It's only been released in a couple cities. If it's only been released in major cities, it makes sense that it would have a dominant POC user base, right? Because obviously just the demographics of rural versus urban America.
Self-respect? You mad that I didn't give you the attention that you wanted and added to your high body count? And then
I'm actually really happy apps like he was the victim in
2 weeks.
Everyone is too up close in my face in these in this specific video. I can't talk at all today. Only 42,000 views. The new T app allows women to gossip and defame men anonymously. That's great.
I would say that something like this, you know, gossip, it's this very base kind of pleasure. It's very savage, unseemly, where you're taking pleasure in ripping someone else apart. I wanted to mention this. Fox 2 in Detroit has this report. A new app called T, where women can only post photos of men.
This is going to be surface level. Hey, question. On the app, T, is it, are you allowed to comment on men's profiles that you create? Like, do you just submit the information and make the guy's profile, or is it like then everyone comments underneath it and they're like, oh, this guy looks ugly, haha. Like, how much of it is gossipy versus just putting information of other people online? Does anyone know? Who here has used it? I imagine it's a post that people can comment under. Yeah, that's kind of my assumption. I'm gay, thankfully. Oh, thank God. Gay men would never gossip about each other.
All right, fellas, welcome back. We need to talk about this new T app that you may or may not have heard of.
Instead of women rating men. But so far, I don't think there is a man-only version of the T app, at least not yet.
Well, that's because take this as a huge W. He probably loves this shit, bro. Any dude that sees himself on here is gonna love this. Because we know that in the big year of 2025, women love these toxic motherfuckers. Dude, they love it. They're gonna run right.
I need to talk about stuff like this more often because I feel like there are a lot of bad ideas floating around out there, you know? There are a lot of bad ideas floating around out there. I don't know. I imagine all the discourse on this is on like TikTok or something. Sorry, I guess I'm just like looking through. I don't really have a strong point. What here, hold on. What toxic traits are we referring to? I'm curious. Oh, okay. Here, wait. We were looking at the. Okay, so you can leave comments. Okay, I see. Let's learn a little.
And where he is from, and then there's a certain number of green flags and a certain number of red flags, all user generated and voted here. And someone posts him and says, "Any tea on Rico before I indulge," which is very funny to put that way because it's like, you're gonna indulge regardless. I think we all know what's gonna happen to Rico here. He's gonna get some pussy no matter what these dumb bitches say here, which is sort of supported by even this first comment. She says,
this is very low IQ. I don't feel like the points being made here are substantiated enough to even engage with, I guess. It's all very performative. At least the other videos seemed like people had actual opinions on the stuff they were talking about. This just kind of seems like you're coming at it from the first principle of I f women, and everything else is getting like filled on the back end. You know, these men hate themselves more than anything. Look, it's simple once you understand it, and once you understand the nature of the dynamic, you see it everywhere all the time. Okay, assuming we're talking about heterosexual people. Men and women need each other because people like romance, love, intimacy, so on, right? Like just kind of a fundamental human thing. Yes, there are gay people, there are ace people, but majority of people are heterosexual or, you know, whatever. So this applies to most people. We're talking about heterosexual dynamics here. The T app was not made for queer polyamorous people. It's pretty obvious who it was made for, right? And a lot of young men resent the fact that they feel like a burning desire for women sexually and for their attention and affirmation. Like a lot of young guys would do anything to get a compliment from a woman, right? But women are taught to be reserved with their compliments, you know, because they often get misinterpreted as a sexual advance, and you know, they don't want to be accused of being too forward or slutty or whatever. So there's kind of like a hold off on that part. Men see women as gatekeepers of their enjoyment, and they resent that fact, right? A lot of men despise the fact that that women have so much control, that you can be a guy and you're for like weeks or months at a time, like when you're in high school or something, you know, in your heart you are just like obsessed with this girl, you know, but she doesn't really pay you much attention, and it feels bad that she has that power over you. So you start to invent stories in your head about why their attention, either you don't need it, or the ways that you're told you need to get it by being like a good guy or whatever are actually wrong. And the real way to get that attention is by selfishly fixating on toxic characteristics, you know? And there's a lot of, like, people respond to this psychosis in a bunch of different ways, and it can lead into a bunch of different directions. But like fundamentally, I think this problem is largely caused by having an incomplete narrative or dynamic of how men and women are supposed to interact with each other, especially young men and women, like in high school or college or whatever, because that's when people are the most awkward and the most incapable of expressing themselves clearly. So I think that things were probably more stable. I'm not saying good, but more stable back in like the 1950s and 60s, because gender roles were very rigidly defined, and what people were supposed to want was pretty set in stone, right? Like there were pretty rigorous expectations about the way men and women were supposed to behave and what they were supposed to look for in other people. Even if the roads you were expected to take were often like pretty toxic and bad and like abusive, they were still clearly laid roads. Now everything's scattered all about the place, so it's a little bit more difficult to find your way, but men are still expected to be the initiators, which means that men's are the ones who are expected to be the constructors of their own taste. They're the ones who are supposed to make the initiative. They're the ones who are supposed to build themselves up and be like the person who seizes the day and makes the reality they want to be. And women are expected to be more passive still, in spite of the fact that they've been given a lot more social leeway to not be as passive. So that, along with the fact that men and women are interacting with each other in real life less than ever before because of your dang smartphones or whatever, right? Where people have fewer friends, people go out, hang out less often, people meet potential dates through mutual friends less often. Like all the ways that people used to socially interact are going down. And as a consequence, I just think that people are developing more like toxic, myopic narratives, right? It's getting more like a spiral in your head. It's more circular. It's more, insane over time. It definitely doesn't help that you can go online and find communities of people who will agree with any crazy shit you say, You can go online and find guys who are like, no, women actually like being raped, their bodies crave it, which they derive from the fact that there are women who have like consensual non-consent fantasies, which would be like saying that men really like it when you kick them in the balls, because a lot of guys are into like sadomasochism and cock and ball torture. It's sort of that's about as sane of a translation of people's interests and desires. Like you can just go up to a guy and kick him in the nads and he'll be happy with that. Maybe some of you freaks, but for a fella such as myself, no, I would not, in fact, be happy with that. Yeah, I don't know. I've given the spiel before. It's just, Now imagine if men had come up with something like that. That shitstorm would never stop. I don't know, maybe? I feel like there's a bit of a shitstorm around tea. A lot of people are shit-talking the app. It is considered more socially acceptable for women to gossip over men than for men to gossip over women in this way, because typically men aren't as concerned for their safety when it comes to dating, right? Like, men and women have different things to worry about. What's the old bit? Like, men are worried women will laugh at them, women are worried men will kill them. It's a bit of an oversimplification, but not by too much. It's definitely like shapes the way these interactions play out. So I think that as the safety angle plays more towards women. That being said, men do shit talk women all the time. So it's not like that's not happening. Is there an organized app for it? I don't know. Yeah, 4chan. Yeah, maybe 4chan. Wasn't OG Facebook essentially tea for men? Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty creepy, right? Women can use the app to discern between genuinely useful info, like he was abusive, I'll DM you proof, versus he was cringe. I don't think that people are that discerning or altruistic when it comes to gossiping online like that. I think that, like, by definition, if there's an app like T, where you go on there to like essentially dox other people and shit talk them, that sort of thing, I think you're pre-selecting for people who are coming at it with bad intentions. And that's not even to speak of the broader social consequences of like every single thing you do with another person being logged in like dox databases. It creates very, very bad expectations. We need to get better at recognizing patterns, not panopticon shit. Yeah, that's what I said last stream, right? Like, I think for the most part, these things play out better if you you need to like practice good social skills. I guess we need to develop like a social infrastructure that makes us engage with each other in a more safe and healthy way.